Hello, I'm Alfie66 and it's still been a horrible week in the world of football, hasn't it? I mean, at least I had my birthday to celebrate, but I couldn't really enjoy football around my birthday, could I? But anyway, this video is probably going to ruffle a couple feathers. I'm going to take a look at every Premier League club and decide one player that you need to sign this summer transfer window, because you're screwed if you don't do it. Probably not. Right, let's go. Arsenal, Victor Gyökeres. Pretty simple this. Arsenal have needed a striker for how long? He's in absolutely stunning form for Sporting, especially this season. He scored 54 goals in 52 games for Sporting. And he's had 6 games where he scored 3 or more goals, and one of them was against Man City. As we've known for 2 years now, they can't win so much as a raffle without a real striker. Now, there are talks of deals worth 70 million euros. Just get it done. Aston Villa, Aaron Ramsdale. I know Ramsdale's just had a hell of a time at Southampton, but come on, we know this guy isn't a terrible goalie. Maybe I'm just saying this because he looked incredible at Arsenal in the 21-22 and 22-23 seasons. I love Ramsdale and I always will, but come on. He was stunning in net in the 22-23 season for Arsenal as they nearly won the title. And with Emi Martinez likely moving on, and Robin Olsen having just been released, Villa are going to need a refresh of goalies. Ramsdale will do the job. He, like any goalie in the world, needs a decent defence as well. Last season, he was playing behind the likes of Jan Bednarek and Jack Stevens, a guy who's probably had more red cards than haircuts. And it'll be a great move for Ramsdale as well, back to the big stage where we know he can perform. His asking price could possibly be high because he is Southampton's best player, but I reckon Villa could grab him for about, let's say, £20 million? Maybe higher. I reckon it's worth it. Bournemouth, Eduardo Quaresma. Dean Hyson was an excellent buy for Bournemouth. A forgotten Wally in the Juventus reserves. Bournemouth snapped him up last summer for 16.5 million and sold him to Real Madrid just a year later for 50 million. What a player he's become, and what great business by Bournemouth. And now Bournemouth have just lost Milos Kerkez as well. They've done fantastically at producing players. Are they turning into the next Brighton? But it's obvious that they need a Hyson replacement, so why not fill the void left by Hyson with Eduardo Quaresma from Sporting? This signing, if it happens, might just top Hyson. Quaresma is 23 and is just breaking into the first team for Sporting. He'll easily start for the Cherries. Might just be Hyson the second. He's got a 45 million euro release clause, but I reckon Bournemouth could grab him for like 25 million euros, which is 21.5 million pounds. His market value is only 18 million euros, and nobody in the world except Chelsea are going to pay release clauses as stupid as that. Brentford, Bournemouth signs. With Brentford likely losing Brian Mbeumo, they're going to need a replacement. Bournemouth signs just scored 18 goals from 41 games for Norwich last season, as they finished an embarrassing 13th. For a team that have just finished 13th, signs played brilliantly. It'll potentially be a great Mbeumo replacement, playing alongside Johan Wissa in the Brentford front line. His asking price is apparently only between 25 and 30 million pounds, the same bound of money that they paid for Igor Thiago last summer, and he's been hideously riddled with injury. This could be a great signing. Brighton, Martin Fernandes. Alright, where would you say the weak spot in Brighton's team is? My pick is right back. Joel Veltman's a decent player, but he turns 34 this season, so sooner or later they're gonna need a new right back. And Tariq Lamptey has unfortunately just been plagued with injury as well. They've already brought in new defenders in Olivier Boscagli, Diego Coppola and Maxime De Kuyper, but I reckon they still need a right back. Martin Fernandes is 18 years old, played 34 games for Porto last season, grabbing 6 assists from right back, and he fits the Brighton criteria of just being a young, unknown player that they'll turn into a superstar and then sell to a big club for hundreds of millions of pounds. His market value is only 10 million euros. Offer them between that and let's say 25 million euros, and you've got yourself a new right back that can take the place of Veltman, a guy who, as we found out last season, has talents more suited to breaking legs. Burnley, Ross Barkley. Alright, I know that this sounds ridiculous, but just bear with me. Burnley do need a better midfield and some big improvements if they have any hope of surviving this year. Or to be honest, every promoted team needs that. So that's where they need a refresh. And Ross Barkley. Burnley fans, I know you're going to want to hunt me down with an axe right now, but hear me out, don't click off. Remember the last time that Ross Barkley played in the midfield for a newly promoted side? He played in the defensive midfield role for Luton when they were promoted 2 years ago and looked the best he ever had since leaving Everton. And his attacking instinct got him 5 goals from defensive midfield for a team that went down. But now he's seemingly wrecked his redemption by moving to Aston Villa, where all he's doing is eating muffins in the treatment room. So can he go out there and redeem himself again, either in attacking or defensive midfield for a newly promoted side? whether they sign him on loan or permanently. And if they do sign him permanently, in football terms, it's going to cost them a packet of Doritos. Going with £7 million. Sounds alright. Chelsea, Marco Carnesecchi. Yes, Chelsea have had a good season, despite making some blunders of signings last summer. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall was simply Danny Drinkwater II. João Felix was yet again a failure at Stamford Bridge. And who on earth spends £20 million on Omari Kellyman? Someone who's yet to make their debut after a whole season. And before that had only played 6 professional games for Aston Villa. And we know that they're in need of a better goalie. Robert Sanchez has been utter dog piss since arriving from Brighton. And although Philip Jurgensen hasn't looked terrible when he's played, he was in net for embarrassing losses to Ipswich and Brighton last season. Is he good enough to be the number one? But Carnesecchi is definitely number one quality. He kept 13 clean sheets from 34 games last season for Atalanta, including clean sheets against Roma, Juventus and champions Napoli, and 18 in 44 from all competitions, as Atalanta finished 3rd in the Serie A. So Chelsea, his asking price is about €50 million, which is approximately £43 million. Man United have offered €40 million. Try and disrupt them, do what you do best and overpay, but keep PSR in mind, because by the 6th of July you've spent €243 million. Crystal Palace, Arthur Tayat. Where would you say the weak spot in Palace's team is? For me, it's centre-back. Trevoh Chalobah was recalled by Chelsea mid-season last season. Mark Gahey is linked with a move away, and that's going to leave their defence crippled. So Arthur Tayat, he's a 25-year-old Belgian centre-back who's played 42 games for Eintracht Frankfurt this season, and he's a rock. So stick him into Palace's defence. He'll strengthen them and make them look solid again. He's currently valued at about €20 million. I think it's worth it for Palace, but they're probably going to need more defenders if Gahey leaves as well. Everton, Gavin Bazunu. This was a hard one. João Virginia and Asmir Begovic have just been released by Everton, as they've announced, and Jordan Pickford, despite still being an incredible goalie, is nearing the age that he'll start to downgrade in ability. So, poach a goalie that will gladly take being the second string goalie for a season or two, and then take over from Pickford. Gavin Bazunu's the one. This guy clearly has ability. Come on, he saved the penalty from the one and only Ronaldo, a man with 5 Ballon d'Ors. To be fair, he missed the whole of last season for Southampton due to injury, but he looked like a good player surrounded by a defence in the 22-23 season, where Southampton also finished bottom. He played 32 out of the 38 games there. This will not cost a lot, surely. Surely he'll want to jump back to the Premier League any way he can. Fulham, Jonathan Burkhart. Again, I reckon the weak spot in Fulham's team is the striker. Raul Jimenez is a decent striker still, but he's just turned 34, so they're going to need a refresh unless they're willing to start Rodrigo Muniz every week. Jonathan Burkhart has just scored 18 goals for Mainz under new manager Bo Henriksen. He's fired them to 6th in the Bundesliga and into the Europa Conference League. If he can do that for a club that haven't finished higher than 8th since 2016 in the Bundesliga, imagine how lethal he'll be at Fulham. I can only imagine that seeing your club finish mid-table season after season is pretty boring. His market value is €35 million, which is £30 million, but he reportedly has a release clause in his Mainz contract which is worth €20 million, approximately £17 million. If you can nick him for that money, then oh boy. Leeds, Matt Ryan. I feel bad for Ian Merlier. He looked like a quality young goalkeeper last time he was in the Premier League, but after that season in the Championship, it looks like he's developed the reflexes of a crippled snail. And Matt Ryan is without a club now. Leeds can simply get him on a free. Then they've got a goalie that isn't hopeless after all. He joined RC Lens in January, conceded 17 goals in 14 games, which is alright, and kept 6 clean sheets at the age of 33. This guy sounds like he can still do it. We know him for his time in the Premier League with Brighton and Arsenal. I know he's 33 and running out of time left, but for at least one season, he could just provide the missing strength in goal. Come on, Leeds, you're sitting on a free transfer here. Liverpool, Alexander Isak. RIP Jota. As much as I think Darwin Núñez isn't as bad a striker as everyone claims him to be, he isn't really a 20-goal-a-season striker now, is he? Liverpool are going to need a 20-goal-a-season striker alongside their 20-goal-a-season winger in Salah, and Liverpool are heavily linked, so just get it over the line. They might just take the title for a second time in a row if they get Isak through the door. Man City, Xavi Simons. I've never actually figured out how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry if I've done it wrong, but this one's quite an obvious one. City need to bring in a De Bruyne replacement, replacement? I would have said Florian Wirtz, but he's on the move to Liverpool, so why not Xavi Simons? Not quite Wirtz, but he's still a good player. Give him time at the Etihad and he'll easily fill in the number 10 role. He's got an asking price of £68 million. Take the punt and bring in one of the most coveted young players in the world. Man United, Diogo Costa. Forget about just one signing, Man United need a whole new team. Both Andre Onana and Altay Bayindir are awful. For that sake, they should try Tom Heaton in goal now they've just extended his contract. But they need a new goalkeeper and striker for that matter desperately. And Diogo Costa, linked with United in the past, already a class shot stopper for Portugal and Porto, he would be perfect for United. Because next season you cannot play these weasels with wrists made of eggshells and then just having to resort to Dermot Mee and Ely Harrison. He has a release clause worth €75 million, but there are reports that Porto are willing to negotiate around €60 million, which is £52 million. I hope for United's sake that they get this deal done and bring in a proper number one. Newcastle, Takefusa Kubo. It looks like they're going to lose out on Brian and Bournemouth to Man United. Brilliant, he preferred Championship to Champions League. So why not look for an alternative? And there you find 24-year-old Japanese international winger Takefusa Kubo. The Real Sociedad winger has been linked with the Magpies in the past and with Liverpool and Arsenal. He's a starlet on the Sociedad wing, and if they can keep Alexander Isak, they'll build a front line that will just get better and better every year. With Kubo on the right, Isak in the middle and Gordon on the left. All three of them are still under 26. He's also got a release clause worth €60 million, which is £52 million. He will take them to the next level. Get it? Who am I kidding? That joke was absolutely horrendous. Nottingham Forest, Quinton Timber. Yuri and Timber's identical twin. This one's going to be a nightmare for commentators if this one comes true. It probably won't, will it? No one's going to look at my suggestions and go, this guy's a genius, because he's got the brains of a burnt bacon roll. But Forest are due an upgrade in the midfield. It's not really the quality of Forest midfield that worries me, it's just the depth. Ibrahim Sangare and Danilo are both injury prone. Nicolas Dominguez and Ryan Yates are decent players, but I would drop them to the bench and bring in Quinton Timber from Feyenoord. Start him in the midfield with Morgan Gibbs-White and Elliot Anderson and he'll provide strength and maybe the odd goal. And his market value is only €30 million, which is £26 million. And if you take away the money for Andre Omobamidele's sale, from the money they paid for Igor Jesus, they've only spent about £1 million this season. Sunderland, Sasha Lukic. Sunderland are getting ripped to shreds, as they probably will in the Prem this season, so they need to invest. With Joe Bellingham leaving for Dortmund, they're going to need a proven replacement. Sasha Lukic of Fulham has a market value of €14 million. On paper, it shouldn't be that expensive to bring him through the door. Add some more strength to the midfield, but you still need better players everywhere else on the pitch if you've got any hope of surviving next season. Tottenham, Morten Hjulmand. Again, Tottenham need a whole new squad, but I find it ridiculous how they sacked Postecoglou just weeks after he won them their first trophy in 17 years. But at the same time, he was going to get sacked this season had he stayed anyway. Any other season, Spurs would have got relegated, I'm telling you now. And with Tottenham now playing Champions League football, somehow, it probably won't be that difficult to convince Danish Sporting midfielder Morten Hjulmand to join Spurs. He's 25 years old, so he has a decent balance between experience and potential, and had a fantastic campaign for Sporting as they won the Liga Portugal. He'll re-stabilise the Spurs midfield. As much as I don't want to see it happen, he'll provide cover for Van de Ven and Romero further up the pitch, who, to be fair, they're not actually bad defenders, but it's amazing what their absences can do to the team. He's got an €80 million asking price, which is about £68 million. Tottenham should go for it. West Ham, Tolu Arokodare. Again, forgive me if I pronounced it wrong. West Ham need a new striker, and they've never had any luck with strikers. Nicholas Füllkrug has been poor this season, Danny Ings has passed it and has now been released, and although I respect Mikel Antonio from coming back from that injury, he's also been released now. To put that to the test, Jarrod Bowen has scored almost 3 times as many league goals this season as the combined total of Evan Ferguson, Danny Ings, Mikel Antonio and Nicholas Füllkrug. That's shocking, so they're definitely going to need a refresh up front. And 24-year-old Nigerian forward Tolu Arokodare has scored 23 goals from 45 games for Belgian club KRC Genk this season. And he's managed to bundle his way into a Nigeria team that right now are overcrowded with strikers. Osimhen, Boniface, Awoniyi, Lookman. I know Awoniyi's not playing now, but he will. Arokadare's had a great season and been rewarded with his Nigeria debut. He's 24 and has a market value of 18 million euros. He won't cost the earth and cripple West Ham. He'd be a great fit for them. Him partnered with Jared Bowen would be a deadly duo and might potentially power West Ham back to Europe. I don't know how they won the Conference League with an ageing Mikel Antonio and two flop strikers in Danny Ings and, God help me, Gianluca Scamacca. Wolves Vangelis Pavlidis. Wolves are going to need a Mateus Cunha replacement, and although Jurgen Strand-Larsen could be Wolves' lone striker next season, the partnership of Cunha and Strand-Larsen was great last season. Greek forward Vangelis Pavlidis has scored 19 goals in the league for Benfica this season and 29 in all competitions, including 7 in the Champions League, including a hat-trick against Barcelona and another hat-trick against big title rivals Porto. And most importantly, he's from the Portuguese league, where Wolves always seem to find gems. With the money they sold Cunha for, I reckon they can more than cover a transfer fee for Pavlidis. He'd be a perfect fit for Wolves. So that's the end of the video. Were those good suggestions? Ross Barkley, I know that. I told you this video was going to ruffle a couple feathers. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Premier League prediction reaction video coming soon, and I'll see you in the next one.